Body language is a studied fact that never lies, but if you don't know how to read it, you might be missing important moments that will never come again as a mature, experienced man. How many opportunities do you think you've missed because you didn't know how to interpret a woman's signals? A lot of women will be attracted to you, but they won't be direct because it's never been their job. A woman understands how to mark your interest subtly with seemingly innocuous but purposeful movements and attitudes. Now, if you're asleep and don't understand what she's saying without using words, the result is simple. You miss out on a connection that could have changed your life. But don't worry, we're going to address this issue today. I'm going to reveal 9 body language and female psychology-based signals that show when a woman is interested in you. These aren't the obvious ones you've heard 1,000 times, but they help you recognize affection even if she doesn't say so. My name is Celia, and we're talking about those subtle details that most people overlook, but that make a big difference. If this is your first time here, I invite you to subscribe and enable notifications. Stay until the end, because these signals might open your eyes and transform the way you understand relationships. Let's get started. The body always speaks, even when we try to hide what we feel. One of the most honest signs of interest is in the feet, unlike hands or the face. We don't usually pay conscious attention to them. If you're in a conversation with her and her feet are pointed directly at you, that's a subtle yet powerful signal that her focus is on you, not just physically but emotionally. 2. Think about it. If someone isn't interested or doesn't feel comfortable, their feet tend to turn toward the exit or in any other direction that suggests disengagement. But when her feet are aligned with you, it's because her body is subconsciously reflecting her interest, even if she's not aware of it. Imagine you're in a meeting or a public setting, and while you're talking, her feet remain still facing toward you, even if she turns her head or gestures with her hands. This happens because her body language is seeking connection with you. This doesn't mean you should start staring at the feet of every woman you talk to, but if you notice the signal along with other positive behaviors, you can be fairly confident that she's interested. So what should you do? If you pick up on this, use that moment to deepen the conversation, to create a more meaningful connection. You don't need to mention it or act differently. Just understand that her body language is opening a door for you. And speaking of signals that don't rely on words, let's move on to the next one. Sometimes the key isn't in her feet, but in what she does with her hands, almost as an unconscious reflex. Let's talk about that. Now, hands are a direct reflection of what's happening in the mind. When a woman is interested, her nervousness or excitement might reveal itself through subtle gestures, like playing with her accessories, twisting a ring, touching a necklace, adjusting her watch, or even smoothing out the hem of her clothing. These movements aren't always conscious, but serve as a way to release the energy stirred by the emotion she feels around you. Imagine you're talking to her, and suddenly you notice she starts fiddling with her necklace, turning it between her fingers as she listens to you. She's not focused on the necklace itself, rather. You've caught her attention, and that energy is finding a way to express itself. These gestures are often repetitive and delicate, as if she's trying to keep herself occupied to calm her emotions. What's fascinating is that this behavior isn't random. Psychology tells us that people tend to engage in these kinds of gestures when they're around someone they're attracted to, either as an unconscious form of self-soothing or as a subtle way of drawing your attention. If you observe this, note how it fits with her other body language. Does she keep eye contact? Does her voice sound friendly and interested? These affirmative cues can show that she is interested in you. How should you react? The important thing is to not rush the conversation and instead take advantage of the chance to ask her questions that will help you connect with her on a more personal level. Give her the room to feel at ease, and if these gestures continue, it's a clear indication that she enjoys being around you. Let's proceed to the next point. If a woman's hands indicate her interest, her posture can accentuate this, particularly when she alters her natural stance to project her best self in your presence. One of the most obvious signs of attraction is when a woman adjusts her posture around you. For example, if she usually adopts a relaxed or casual stance, when she sees you, she straightens her back, lifts her chin slightly, or even changes her clothes. Her body speaks before she even considers it, and you walk into a room and see her sitting at ease then. She may adjust her hair, cross her legs more tastefully, or move into a position that accentuates her best features as soon as she recognizes you. Psychology teaches us that the body reacts instinctively when we're near someone we're attracted to. It's a natural way of wanting to leave a positive impression of showing interest without needing to say a word. If you notice this, you'll see that these movements aren't just acts of vanity. They're an unconscious way of projecting her best self to capture your attention. Behavior. Pay attention to how it changes as you speak. Does she keep that posture? Does she touch her hair more frequently than usual? These small gestures are her way of letting you know that she values your presence. If you notice this, react with your own body language. Subtly express your interest, keep your posture open, smile sincerely, and let her know that you've noticed her too. This visual and physical connection will make her feel at ease and inspire her to continue expressing her interest. Speaking of expressions, let's move on to something even more revealing: her smile. A woman's smile frequently appears at the most unexpected times, even before you say something amusing. Let's explore the significance of this in the following section. A woman's smile carries immense power, particularly when it emerges spontaneously before a joke or particularly humorous statement. It's the most natural way to convey that being around you makes her pleased and comfortable, even without a clear explanation. Imagine you're talking about something routine and unremarkable, and you notice her smiling as she looks at you. It seems as though simply being in your presence ignites a spontaneous smile on her face. Because attraction in female psychology tends to show on the face in the most authentic manner, a smile that is spontaneous and unprompted by the circumstance is a blatant indication that she is interested in you. It's a natural response to how she feels around you. In fact, she may not even be aware that she's doing it. If you notice, don't ignore it. It's a silent invitation to continue connecting in order to keep the conversation going and to feed the already existing spark. How should you respond? Give her a genuine, warm smile in return. That shared moment of visual and emotional connection reinforces the mutual interest, and she is aware that you noticed her gesture. However, smiles aren't always the most telling signs of interest. Sometimes the most telling gestures are when she subtly tries to get closer to you, even in subtle ways. In the next point, we'll look at how her body works to reduce the distance between you without appearing purposeful. If you're enjoying this video and catching hints you missed, let's continue. Please remember to subscribe and use the like button to help support this content. For those who genuinely wish to understand how to decipher what a woman's body language is trying to communicate, the most unexpected and illuminating clues are still to come, so stick with me through to the end. I have a final suggestion that could significantly change your understanding of these conversations. Please let me know which nation you are listening from, and let's move on. Women often express their interest through subtle, seemingly casual movements, with the clear intention of drawing closer to you. If you notice that she shifts slightly toward your side while you're talking in a group, or perhaps you're sitting at a table and she positions her arm or body to align more closely with yours without your immediate awareness, you're witnessing a powerful sign of attraction. Psychologically, this behavior stems from our natural instinct to move closer and share the same personal space when we feel drawn to someone. It's a way of feeling connected without yet crossing the physical boundary, but still making her interest clear. How can you tell if this is a real signal? When a woman shows genuine interest, it's not only evident in her physical proximity, but also in the way she mirrors your gestures, as if you two are perfectly in sync. Let's delve deeper into this connection in the next section. If you notice that she doesn't display the same closeness with others, it's a strong indication that her focus is on you. What should you do if you notice this? Don't pull away or act uncomfortable. Instead, respond with a relaxed and open demeanor. If you feel confident, mirror her gesture with a small movement toward her. Dance. One of the most intriguing signs of attraction is unconscious mirroring, also referred to as the mirror effect. Without even realizing it, she starts to mimic your posture, movements, or even your tone of voice, as her body naturally tries to connect with you. For example, you may cross your arms while speaking, and a few seconds later notice that she does the same. Or perhaps you take a sip of your drink, and she suddenly does too, even though her glass had been sitting untouched. These subtle gestures aren't coincidences. Rather, they are a reflection of her mind being in sync with yours and an indication that she feels at ease in your company. It's as if her body is saying, "I'm with you, I understand you, I'm interested in what you're doing." This phenomenon occurs unconsciously, making it a real and difficult to fake signal. If you notice her mirroring, take advantage of it to strengthen your relationship. Psychology teaches us that mirroring is a way to communicate interest and build connection. You don't need to shout or change your movements to test it. Instead, keep the discussion going and notice how her gestures continue to match yours. Simply enjoy the moment and allow the natural synergy to work its magic. Speaking of synchrony, a woman's interest in someone alters another aspect. It's subtle but incredibly telling. It may become softer, warmer, or even slower when she speaks to you. This change isn't something she consciously does. Rather, it's a reflection of how she feels in your presence and her desire to establish a more personal connection with you. Imagine that you're in a group setting and her tone of voice remains neutral and direct while speaking to others. When she addresses you, however, her tone of voice takes on a different quality, as if she wants to make the moment more intimate, even in a crowded room. It's a small detail, but it carries a lot of weight. Psychology explains that this happens because emotions directly influence the way we communicate. When a woman is interested, her body and mind work to convey closeness, and her tone of voice is one of the subtlest tools she uses to do so. If you notice her tone shifts when she speaks to you, take it as an invitation to deepen the conversation. Respond in a calm and attentive manner, matching her warmth in your own tone. This helps create an atmosphere of mutual trust and strengthens the spark that's already there. But it's not just about how she speaks to you, it's also about what she chooses to share. When a woman is interested, she begins to reveal more personal details, building a unique bond. In the next point, we'll explore how these confessions can be a clear sign that she likes you. Let's continue. When a woman is interested in someone, she tends to share something deeper than the surface-level conversations. It might be a personal detail, a profound thought, or a story she wouldn't typically share in casual settings. She doesn't share this with just anyone, and if she shares it with you, it's to establish a deeper and more meaningful connection. For example, imagine you're having a casual conversation when she says, "Almost no one knows this, but I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano, or this place reminds me of a difficult time in my life." These moments don't just happen, they're a sign that she trusts you and wants to give you a glimpse into her world. Female psychology teaches us that sharing personal information is a way to develop emotional intimacy. When a woman shares something she typically keeps to herself, it's because she wants you to see past the obvious and connect with her more deeply. How can you make the most of this moment? Listen carefully, ask questions that show genuine interest, and keep the conversation flowing naturally. If she feels that you respect and value what she's sharing, her trust will grow, strengthening the bond between you. Here's something else you shouldn't overlook. If she finds reasons to extend the time she spends with you, even when it's time to part ways, it's another clear sign that she enjoys your company more than she's willing to admit. Let's delve deeper into this final signal in the next section. When a woman likes you, she extends the conversation, adds an extra comment, or asks a question to prolong the moment. Even during the shortest encounters, she will find ways to prolong the conversation, add an extra comment, or ask a question to ensure the moment doesn't end too quickly. This happens because in female psychology, the desire to prolong an interaction is a clear sign of interest. When a woman enjoys being with you, any goodbye feels too soon, and she looks for small excuses to stay in your company just a bit longer. If you notice this, don't rush the goodbye. Respond naturally and seize the opportunity to deepen the connection. These moments are ideal for fostering closeness, as they demonstrate that both of you are enjoying your time together. It's important to remember that actions always carry more weight than words. If a woman finds herself lingering, even during small interactions, it's likely because she is drawn to you through these 9 signals. Ultimately, women rarely express their interest with overt words. Instead, they communicate with gestures that only those who can read them can understand, giving you a clear guide to interpret her body language and actions, even if she doesn't express it directly. If you see any of these signs in someone, pay attention because you may be facing a new opportunity. Keep in mind that the most crucial thing is to react with assurance and sincerity, because that's what genuinely builds a connection. My name is Celia, and I want this place to be a haven where we can respectfully and wisely discuss important and eye-opening subjects. Here, we transcend the apparent and scrutinize the gestures, words, and subtle details that often go unnoticed, yet possess the power to transform our mutual relationships. Let's learn how to better understand others and enhance our quality of life in all areas, not just emotionally, because ultimately, every little act of awareness and every moment spent thinking back on our connections brings us closer to a more genuine and fulfilling life. If this is your first time on the channel, subscribe and enable notifications. Bell. If you've read this far, congratulations. Your dedication to personal growth and understanding others is evident, enabling you to identify those who truly resonate with this message. Coming surprises will shock you and help you understand female psychology's subtleties you may have missed. Let me know where you're listening from, since I appreciate knowledge and would love to hear from people who are on this path of self-discovery with me. We'll continue discussing the secrets of relationships and mental health in the upcoming video. See you then.